Bubba built it.
Hey everybody, back in 2022,
July.
July of 2022, we picked up this sweet SRT Challenger. And we picked it up, well, the reason why we picked it up was because it was a really good deal.
Yeah.
And the reason why it was a really good deal is because it was flooded. It was flooded. It had, according to the person we bought it from, he said that there was a watermark
Up to the top of the doors.
up to the top of the doors, and of course that's all inside the interior. You can see all in there. None of the dash works, right?
No, actually, all the electronics on the gauge cluster work, but none of the gauges work.
None of the gauges work. Okay, that's right. And then of course the big screen thing, all that's gone.
No, it's not gone. It's right here.
But it was taken out.
I took it out.
No. I mean, the water took it out.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, look, you see the water
the example right here. Yeah,
there's the water.
That's about where the water was, and
yeah.
It's right there. So that's like a 6-pound piece of junk right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it has a cooling fan built into it. It's pretty hard drive.
Right. Yeah. But that's what I was saying. When it was taken out, the water took it out.
Yeah. So this was taken out also, and I took it out also. So things like this right here. So look, if you ever buy a flood car and you don't know it's a flood car, you got a mess on your hands.
Yeah.
And we knew this was a flood car. The reason we bought it was not only because it's an SRT8, but looky.
Oh, what is that right there?
Row your own boat gears. Yeah, I mean, that's,
man, 6 speeds.
T56. I mean, how many T56 6-speed Challengers do you see around?
Yeah.
And SRT8s at that, and this thing only has 56,000 miles. This was somebody's pride and joy.
Yeah.
And, okay, so first of all, freshwater flood.
Yeah,
that's very key.
Very key.
Have any of you ever seen a saltwater flood car?
It's ugly. Ugly.
I was shocked.
You open up the hood, it's like
I was shocked. It looked like a buddy of mine lived down in Pensacola. I can't remember the name of the hurricane. Rolled through there and flooded the whole island. Actually, it's Perdido Key. Flooded the whole island of Perdido Key in 6 feet of water. Storm surge. And these flyboys that lived next door had parked their beautiful 300ZX, and there was another car. They parked in his garage while he went north. My buddy went north to actually stay with us because the hurricane was coming. And we went back there to his house after the hurricane had subsided, and he popped the hood on that 300ZX, and it looked like, how a battery terminal looks when it's been sitting too long and it's just covered with corrosion? That's what the whole engine compartment looked like. And I was shocked. He opened the tool drawer in his toolbox, and it was like a pile of corrosion.
Yeah, just a bunch of rust.
Saltwater is terrible.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that ships even last. This is freshwater. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, we still have some of it with us.
Yeah, hold on. There it is right there. That's some good old Mississippi River, probably.
Yeah, look, there it goes. And see, the water line has been subsiding
over so slightly
over the year and a half that we've had it. It's slowly going down.
So anyway, we knew that this was a flood car, and we knew the kind of things. So thankfully, the people we bought it from some good folks in Nashville, just south of Nashville, Tennessee, and they had gotten it from the salvage auction. They had flushed the engine. They had put a new starter on it. And they got it running, and it runs like a watch.
We were able to drive it, test drive it before we picked it up. Right. They were super nice.
But this right here, man, I mean, 6.1 Hemi. This is one of the sweetest versions of the Hemi, and one of the reasons is because it doesn't have the cylinder delete function. It doesn't have all of the weird electronic stuff that us hot rodders really don't need or want. And so it's a perfect engine to hot rod if you want to turbocharge or supercharge or just bang on it in the NA sense. But so we knew that anytime you can get a 4-figure low mileage SRT8, you buy it.
Right, absolutely.
And especially if it's a 6-speed, which it checked all the boxes. Now, so with anything like this, and we've got a good title for it. I say it's a branded title. It's a flood branded title, but we have a title for it. And so we got this thing, and we originally thought we were going to do the Generalissimo swap with this car. And then the more we thought about it, we're like, well, this thing could possibly be put back on the road. It is a rare car. And so with anything like, so anyway, we decided that we bought that roller RT car, and we were going to use parts off of it to work on this one. And then more we looked at it, this 68 Charger body that we bought was so bad, we thought, you know what? It would be better to use that roller chassis and just put another engine in it and get it going for that project. So we're still on this one. Anytime you look at fixing up a salvage title car, it's a war of attrition, right? So you have to look at, yeah, it's like you make your pros, your classic pros and cons list, right? And you weigh all the cons, you weigh all the pros, you say, is this thing worth fixing? And if you've ever spent any time watching our videos, the way we do things is we really like to let the car speak for itself and let us know what it wants to be. And this one was no different. So the thing is, look, and I'm not throwing stones at anybody here, but one of the things that really just chaps our rear end is somebody takes a nice driver car. I'm not going to name any names, but I know of several that they'll take a nice Survivor original, rare, awesome old car and blow it apart, take everything out of it, resto mod it, put a new drivetrain in it, modern this, modern that. And somebody could have enjoyed that car as it was. That car, when we see that car, it speaks to us and says, just drive me, enjoy me. Don't blow it, don't waste all that beautiful original patina. And so anyway, this is similar to that, right? We don't want to redo something that's already good. And so we're taking this thing now down to the bones as far as we need to see what's working, what's not. And the good thing is that these cars, the early Challengers, are getting fairly inexpensive. So like pieces like this, we might be able to get something.
Might be able to get it at the pull apart.
Yeah. And so again, we're talking about flood cars here, right? So one of the things that you need to know about flood cars is anything that's got a little motor in it is suspect.
Yes.
So the seats, for example.
Yep.
So you can see the seat is not in here.
Out.
Now, if you've ever tried to get a power seat out of the car that doesn't work, it could be a Herculean task.
Let's show them the trick that you
let's do that. Okay, so you know what? Let's see, here's the base right here, actually.
Yeah, there we go.
Now I'm gonna have to take
where do you want to do this?
Do it over here, I guess. That's where I've already got the drill. So pull the motor out of this car. Pull the power window. You know what? Hold on a second. You know what? I need to get sorry.
Man.
Here it is.
Production value is one.
I know. All right, here is now this seat has 4 or 5 motors in it. Yep. This one, if you're trying to remove the seat, this one is the most important. This is the forward and reverse motor, and it's set right. It's set right there, right? Now, these are all pretty much the same, how they work. They've got a worm gear in here that's driven by a square drive. This is very similar. Matter of fact, this is exactly the same thing that older cars use as a speedometer cable. So it's a square drive, and you got a spot here where it goes into a little gear.
Let me see if I can get around. I don't know if I can get around there to see it.
I'm gonna have to put my
peepers
on.
Here, let me swap over here if I can.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, here, hold on. Okay, you see that right there?
Yeah, let me get back up here.
I'll turn it this way. As you see, we always like a clean workspace. Rule number 1. Clean workspace. No, look, the reason this is sitting here is not because we like junk on our table, but because I had the seat upside down on it as I was. Yeah. Because the upholstery is still good on this. It's a rare suede, black leather. Panel. Okay. Now, look right there. You see that thing right there?
Yeah.
This little square drive gear?
Yeah.
Okay. This motor, sorry, I had it backwards. This side of the motor goes into that little square drive gear right there. Okay. And this longer cable went into this one. Okay. So if you ever have to get one of these out, so right here is where the seat bolts are, right here and right here.
And if
But
the seat is back over those
it
bolts,
covers those up.
obviously you can't do
You can't
it.
get it out.
So what you have to do is you have to move the seat. In order to do that, if the motor's burnt up or the wiring connection's compromised, this is the way you do it.
Right. And I didn't know this before, so this will be a good tip for you guys to use. If you're in the junkyard too.
Wait. You're skipping a step here.
What's
all right. So, I mean, look, this is all connected. What do you do?
Okay, so this, interestingly enough, was held in place with a zip tie. These two little the zip ties went around and held this in place. And there was a little sheath that went over this. I pulled it off already. And this was plugged into here, right? So there's a couple things. The one motor that worked on the seat was the up and down motor. And so I went ahead and got in there and jumped it and lifted the seat as high as I could, so I had more access from underneath. If you don't have that, then a lot of cars, the seat, like that seat cushion will come off with those two right there. You take those two bolts, the seat cushion can come up and you can have access from the top like we've got right now. But I ended up getting that from the bottom. Anyway, I wasn't sure how this was going to work. I thought, and I looked online, I didn't find a lot of information. How do you get a power seat to move if the motors are froze up? Anyway, so this is how you do it. Look at that. You have to make the sounds too. Look at that. It works like butter. Now the drill is kind of important because if you don't have it, you're going to sit here for like 100 years going like this. Look, it still works. Look.
Very, very slowly.
Right. But anyway, so this is what I had to do to get the seat out of the car, just to diagnose what the situation was. Now, and then I love to look at things. Lee and I try to tinker with things. Look inside there. You see that?
Yeah, a little bit of corrosion.
Now, the fact of the matter is, this motor could be disassembled perhaps and rehabilitated.
Yeah. But why do that?
Look, why do that? Because these LX cars, or LC, in the coupe, but actually I say LX is more appropriate because there's a lot more Chargers and
300s
and 300s in junkyards than there are Challengers.
Yep.
So those seats will go right in. And curiously enough, the early Challengers, the driver's side didn't even have the forward tilting for rear seat access. You had to get into the passenger side, which a lot of cars are like that. And so this is the same exact seat as in a four-door car. Again, when you think about four-door cars, they don't have that function where the seat goes forward for access to the back because it's four-door. But the driver, I guess, to save money in the beginning, Chrysler used the four-door and two-door seats the same. So what our plan is to go get a cheap seat out of a Charger at the junkyard at the pull apart and change the upholstery over, or pull the motors out of it and convert it. So that's our plan. But these motors, and this one, okay, these motors here are somewhat serviceable. This one really is not. I mean, you'd have to bend these tabs to pull it apart, and
it's just not worth it.
It's just probably not worth it.
No, it's really not. I mean, we can just grab those out of a wrecked car.
But this gives you a little bit of an insight on this works so much better than I thought it would as far as moving that seat position. And so before I've been at junkyards, I'm like, what do I do it's just, I almost feel like it's not, you can't use the parts because you can't get to them. But this is going to open up a whole lot of new doors. See, also, I was talking about the motor. This is I already took it and I cleaned it up. It had corrosion all over these where it was inside here. And then I thought, well, you know what, I'll try to put it back together. Well, one of the springs from the brushes went, so I was like, okay, well.
Where in the world did it go?
Clean workspace, very important.
Yeah. I mean, so I bet you we could probably dig around and find 50 springs, and none of them will be the one that we need.
Anyway.
Oh, look, there's some more evidence of the flood.
Oh, yeah.
Look at all the mud.
Yeah. So again, fresh water, but look, all that silt that's in there. And this is the motor here. So, and this one, I wish it hadn't had this is a power recline. I hate a power recline, honestly.
Really. It's one of the most
you got to lever it. It's so easy. Just let it, it's
simplistic.
So this thing, somebody had reclined it back. The seat was forward, and so we mentioned we had this car for a year and a half. It's basically sat for a year and a half because we're like, well, the windows don't work.
Well, then also there's this huge debate. Are we going to use it for another Charger Daytona project? And well,
Right.
you know,
Or fix it.
And so I really think we're starting to fall on the side of fix it. I'm still on the fence personally.
We're not sure yet. Okay, look, actually, what we've decided that the factor on whether we're going to fix it or tear it down is when we get that HVAC controller. If the HVAC, the blower motor, and all that, if all that stuff doesn't work,
yeah,
and that's gonna be like, okay, well, we're going to use this as
then,
just a awesome 6-speed 6.1 Hemi roller
man.
to do what. Look, it's got 113, 114 inch wheelbase, same as a Crown Vic, but it'll swaps. There's so many awesome swaps we could do with that. I mean, we've got some really crazy ideas cooking in our head. So
again,
anyway,
it's about the car speaking to us, and
exactly.
it's going to tell us.
It's going to tell us, fix me or use me.
That's right.
So we're gonna fix it one way or the other.
It's like a big surprise.
It is. It's like,
happen.
Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. And look, again, I don't know how you guys do hot rodding, but Lee and I, we like organic. I call it organic hot rodding.
Yeah.
And so you get cool stuff, you put them together in a pile and see what, like when you're, anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that, but let it help you make the decision. Don't go tearing up a bunch of stuff that's already good so. This is where we're just gonna find out. The other thing, well, we really already said that's the thing is if the HVAC works, then good to go. We're gonna probably fix this thing and do something fun with it that way. But anyway, when you're showing the headlights there, that's another thing that's like to get those headlights out, you got to take the whole front end of the car off. So I mean, it's gonna have to come apart one way or the other. And then once you're at that point, you're like, well, we got $3,000 worth of parts here. And then a really awesome, kick butt drivetrain. Let's just sell the $3,000 worth of parts, and then we got small money and big performance.
Big performance.
And that's the same thing with this. Like that Z06 was the same thing. It was a
crunched.
It was a low mileage, just the best drivetrain. I mean, the Z06 is like the purest form of the Corvette, I think, and it ended up being like, well, we really saved all the good stuff and just got rid of the bad stuff. And we sold, again, about $3,000 worth of parts off of it. And that helped subsidize the cost of it. So we were in that performance drivetrain for small money. And so, if you do your homework and spend the time, you can do that kind of thing. So that's kind of where we are with this car. So back to, again, what we were saying, flood damaged cars, right? First of all, if somebody has not rehabbed the motor, then quickly after the flood, then you might have a ruined drivetrain. Again, thankfully, this was a T56. If it would have been an automatic, that might have also made it where it's not even, because water gets inside that automatic. You got a situation where, and I'm not a transmission guy, but I think that you have a situation there where you might not be able to fix it, especially if it ruined any of the, the internals or got water in there in places that you can't get it out. But you're looking at, if you ever buy a flood car, A, make sure it's freshwater. B, make sure that the drivetrain was gotten to pretty quickly after the event. And then just know that anything with a motor that was submerged for any length of time is probably going to have to be replaced.
Yep.
And so those are the kind of things that you look at. And
and one of the things that we were having issues with, obviously, going to be the windows, because those motors got zapped.
Yeah, they sure did. Matter of fact, that's what that one is that I took apart, was one of the window motors.
Yeah.
But with that car right there, matter of fact, there are the doors right there. That's what I was doing the other day. I took the doors apart and swapped out the. I could have left the regulators in, but the way this is, the motors actually are serviceable off the regulator, but you got to take the regulator out to take the motor off.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put these entire regulators into the SRT, and see. Oh, another thing. See, these had that went right there. Those three bolts right there. There was a door computer, because these doors, like a lot of modern coupes, when you open the door, the window drops a quarter of an inch. Yeah, so it had all that sophisticated crap in it. But now it's all working. So anyway, yeah, you look at motors, you look at, there's the, and look how nice this interior is. It's dusty, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, the other thing, the fuel pump.
Oh
So,
yeah.
So this car again, it's been sitting. It hadn't been driven much in the past year and a half. And as you, okay, look, you can see here too, where this is evidence of where we had tried to tape the windows up, where we didn't want
the water out.
to keep the nice interior from getting ruined. So I went out there. Lee and I were like, okay, let's get this thing cranked up and get in here and get these windows fixed. It's like, oh, what's going on, and so first thing you want to do is check electrical issues, make sure that it's not something that got like corrosion on a major, the PCM connection or something like that. We eliminated all that, went back here to where the fuel pump relay is, and it is, the fuel pump relay is this one right here. That little guy right there is the fuel pump relay. And she was clicking away, and I checked I got my test light and checked the continuity, and it was powering up to prime the pump when you turn the ignition on, just like it's supposed to. So I'm like, okay, fuel pump.
Yep.
Because it's been sitting for too long. And you know what? If you've ever done fuel pumps, in-tank fuel pumps, it's just the thought of it makes my butt twitch.
I hate them.
Oh,
I hate them.
Pull the tank and do all that crap. Well, thankfully, the beautiful, wonderful engineers at Chrysler, they placed this thing. And look, this is probably because
we need some light.
Okay, hold on. Let me get the light. Okay. Here, where is the light? Once again, keep a clean, organized workspace, right?
Yeah.
All right, give me a second while I find this light here. Well, you know what? Just to keep the production value from waning too much, let's just use the. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right, look right underneath the seat.
Isn't that cool?
Okay, so you know how a lot of seats in cars, they have the little hook here, and then there's a little metal tab on the bottom of the seat where it goes right into that. That's what I thought this was, and I sat here and struggled for 10 minutes, and then I got on the interweb, and they were like, "Oh no, it goes right in here, and you just give it a good hard tug, harder than you think," and it popped right up. And look at that! This literally was a 15-minute fuel pump install. And again, that's how I checked it, because I turned the ignition on and you couldn't hear anything coming out of it. So obviously it had froze from sitting there.
Oh.
And so put that sucker in there, and it was it wasn't even that expensive. It was like a $75 fuel pump from Rock Auto. And this is the old one, and you can see where there was some corrosion from where it had been sitting.
Yep.
Actually, that's just the lid. The pump's over there. But sure enough, matter of fact, why don't you do the honors, Lee? Just turn around. I'm gonna hook up the battery here.
There's no seat.
No, so you want this handy dandy little wooden seat here?
No.
Okay.
I'll just sit like this.
All right, we'll turn the key.
All right. I've got.
Will it start? Hey, we're doing our will it start.
Will it start?
Oh no, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Oh, you hear that?
All right, let's show them the 56,000. Oh, it's 58,000 miles.
Focus.
You might just have to back up.
Maybe it is focusing. Maybe it's my eyes. It's not. All right, let's see what it happens. All right. Man.
And that is why we bought it.
That's right.
You know what? Before we die, let me just crack this door here. Oh yeah, so you see our welding wire trunk release? That's another one of the things that doesn't work.
Yeah.
The trunk popper. But look at this right here. Whoop.
There you go.
But hey, the reason we did that is because a few times we ended up going through the back seat,
Yeah.
and crawling through there. And let me tell you what, I guess I'm going to say it. At my age, that's not fun to do.
Very cool. Oh yeah. Oof. All right, I gotta shut that off.
Hey, oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so interesting thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It was sitting out here in our collection, and some Mr. Rodent climbed up on top of the exhaust somewhere.
Yeah, it's not in the interior, thankfully.
Yeah,
It's somewhere on the outside, and
Yeah.
it has made a happy little home. Hopefully, he's a crispy critter now, but but
man.
unfortunately, the smell. We're going to have to get it on the lift and figure out where that
is
coming from.
Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, but being inside here, thankfully, it does not smell bad at all. So I think we got ourselves one fine piece of equipment on the cheap. On the cheap. Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, what else do we want to talk about here?
I think that that really kind of covers it. I mean, flood damaged cars, they can be a really good value.
Yep.
But just know what you're getting into.
Yeah, know exactly what you're getting into. And like we were saying, saltwater versus freshwater, that's a that's a huge difference. So if you're down at the coast and you're buying something, just be very, very wary. And then you will see it. I mean, you open up the engine compartment, anything that's steel under here is going to really show the corrosion. And then underneath, you'll look, all of the fasteners will just be a total mess.
Yeah, so the engineers they make the drivetrain more robust than they do the interior electronics, of course. And so a lot of times a flood damaged car will run and drive great. And if someone has not disclosed that it's flood, you might be tempted to, oh yeah, well, just has some fuses blown. No, it's going to be extensive.
Yeah,
So,
you are gonna have some hurdles. Don't think that you're just gonna be hopping in this and driving across the countryside with no issues at all.
right.
So, but all right. Well, obviously we have not done anything on Generalissimo, but we do have some cool stuff that has hit, and
We're ready to put the engine in.
Ready to put the engine in. And there she sits. There's the old block, and we've already talked about that. But there's the new one. New to us, new to the car.
Yep.
There's our 16, count them, 16 spark plugs.
Yep.
So that, of course, will be going into here.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's it for this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe.
Take care.